मैं हूँ रश्मि चौधरी एंड वेलकम टू दिस वीडियो सीरीज। यहाँ हम कवर करेंगे नितिन सिंघानिया की आर्ट एंड कल्चर की फिफ्थ एडिशन जो कि लेटेस्ट एडिशन है। इस किताब को हम थॉरली रीड करेंगे, जहाँ ज़रूरत पड़ेगी समझाएंगे भी, और साथ ही यूपीएससी और स्टेट पीएससीज में आए हुए प्रीवियस ईयर क्वेश्चंस डिस्कस करेंगे। इस सीरीज में एक वीडियो 30 से 35 मिनट्स की होगी, बट इफेक्टिव होगी। 40 से 45 लेक्चर्स में पूरी किताब कवर हो जाएगी। अगर आपने ये सीरीज 3 से 4 बार देख ली तो बिल्कुल ये किताब आपके दिमाग में छप जाएगी एंड योर एक्यूरेसी विल डेफिनेटली इंक्रीज। ऑल्सो आपका रिवीजन काफी आसान हो जाएगा। तो अगर आपको रिवीजन के साथ साथ वैल्यू एडिशन भी करना है तो ये सीरीज पूरी फॉलो करें। आपको बस अपने पास ये किताब रख कर मुझे सुनना है और इम्पोर्टेंट पॉइंट्स मार्क करने हैं। सो विदाउट एनी फर्दर डिले लेट्स गेट स्टार्टेड।
हेलो एंड वेलकम बैक टू घटना सूत्र यूट्यूब चैनल। यहाँ हम कवर कर रहे हैं नितिन सिंघानिया की आर्ट एंड कल्चर की फिफ्थ एडिशन जो कि लेटेस्ट एडिशन है। और यहाँ हम चैप्टर 3 कर रहे हैं जो कि है इंडियन स्कल्पचर्स एंड पॉटरीज। और उसका हमने एक पार्ट ऑलरेडी कर लिया है। नेक्स्ट ये चैप्टर कंप्लीट करेंगे विथ लेट्स स्टार्ट विथ गुप्ता पीरियड स्कल्पचर्स। ड्यूरिंग द गुप्ता पीरियड न्यू स्कूल ऑफ sculpture developed around Sarnath. It was characterized by the use of cream-colored sandstone and the use of metal. The sculptures of this school were immaculately dressed and lacked any form of nakedness. The halo around the head of the Buddha was intricately decorated. Example Sultanganj Buddha in Bihar. It is a copper sculpture. Gupta terracotta figures. The terracotta figures of Gupta period can be classified under two heads, god and goddesses. The male and the female figures, many Buddha figures and the ornaments have been found at Devni Mori Stupa in Gujarat. A large collection of terracotta plaques has been found in Bikaner and Achi Chatra. Distinctive style of terracotta heads have been unearthed from the Akhnur in Kashmir. Numerous Gupta terracotta objects have also been discovered from Bhitar. Features of South Indian temple sculpture. South Indian temple sculpture included sculptures of different temples built by different dynasties: Chalukyas, Pandyas, Cholas. Kirtimukha. Kirtimukha is the monster face with huge fangs, and it has been seen frequently as a decorative motif in the iconography of a South Indian temple architecture. It is very common in the iconography of Indian temple architecture in India and Southeast Asia, and it's often found in Buddhist architecture. Musical sculpture, sculpture with musical instrument of granite architectural elements is a unique feature of South Indian temples. These sculptures are frequently found in Tamil Nadu. One of the earliest musical sculpture was recorded from Kodambalur in Tamil Nadu. The musical pillars of Vitthal temple in Hampi, Saregama pillars is another distinctive feature. इसके बारे में हमने PYQ में डिस्कस किया था। अब देख सकते हो लास्ट चैप्टर में Saptamatrika sculpture. Saptamatrika sculptures are the distinct feature of South Indian temples. Saptamatrikas are Shaktis of Hindu deities like Brahma, Vishnu, and Maheshwara. One of the oldest depiction of Saptamatrikas can be seen in Kailashnath temple in Kanchipuram. Other unique features of South Indian temple sculpture include frequent uses of animal and bird motifs, depiction of animals and snakes, motifs of swan, Pallava temples, and Yali motif sculpture. Yali is a mythological creature with the head and the body of a lion and the trunk tusk of an elephant. Chola sculpture. An important feature of Chola temples was the importance placed on the decoration through the sculpture. An important piece of Chola sculpture was the sculpture of Nataraj. Uh, Mark this as very, very important. ये RS, Rajasthan Administrative Services 1994, UPPCS 2006 और UPSC 1993 में आ चुका है ये क्वेश्चन कि चोला स्कल्पचर किससे रिलेटेड है, नटराज से, या फिर नटराज किस कल्चर से रिलेटेड है, तो उसको चोला चोला कल्चर से रिलेटेड है, कल्चर से रिलेटेड है। तो नटराज इज द इन द stand-up dance posture. Though the earliest known Natras sculpture, which has been excavated at the Ravana uh, Padi cave at Aihole, was made during the early Chalukya rule, the sculpture reached its peak under the Cholas. Some features, उससे पहले मैं ये बता दूं, एक क्वेश्चन आया हुआ है CAPF 2022 में, किंग ऑफ डांस किसे कहते हैं, तो नटराज। ठीक है, ये क्वेश्चन आया हुआ था। तो upper right hand holds the drum, which signifies the sound of creation. All the creations spring from the great sound of Damru. Upper left hand holds the eternal fire, which represents destruction. Destruction is the precursor and an inevitable counterpart of creation. The lower right hand is raised in the gesture of Abhay Mudra, signifying benediction and reassuring the devotee not to be afraid. The lower left hand points towards the upraised foot and indicates the path of salvation. अब ये क्वेश्चन पूछा गया है यूपीएससी सीएसई 1995 में कि नटराज में कितने हैंड्स हैं, हाउ मेनी हैंड्स आर देयर, तो 4 हैं जैसा हमने पढ़ा, तो ये इसका आंसर हो जाएगा। द लेफ्ट लेग इन भुजंग Atrasita stance represents Tirobhav, that is kicking away the veil of Maya or illusion from the devotee's mind. Shiva is dancing on the figure of a small dwarf. The dwarf or demon symbolizes ignorance and ego of an individual. The matted flowing locks of Shiva represents the flow of river Ganga. In ornamentation, or one ear of Shiva has a male earring while the other has a female one. This represents the fusion of male and female and is often referred to as Ardhanarishwar. A snake is twisted around the arm of Shiva. The snake symbolizes Kundalini power, which resides in the human spine in the dormant stage. If aroused, one can attain true consciousness. The Nataraj is surrounded by a nimbus of glowing lights, which symbolizes the vast, unending cycles of time. Sculpture of Senviyan uh, Mahadevi. She was a 10th century AD Chola queen, patron of the arts, and one of the most powerful queens of Chola Empire. She built many temples, such as at Kutralam, Virudhachalam, Aduthurai, Kalyan Sundara sculpture. The 9th century AD Kalyan Sundara Murti is highly remarkable for the manner in which Pani Grahana ceremony of marriage is represented by two separate statues. Uh, Shiva, with his extended right hand, accepts Parvati, the bride's right hand, who is depicted with a bashful expression and taking a step forward. Indian bronze sculpture. Bronze sculptures with lost wax technique were widely prevalent from the ancient times of India. Bronze sculptures with Buddhist, Hindu, and Jain icons have been excavated in many regions of India, dating from the 2nd century onwards. The dancing girl, excavated from Mohenjo-daro, is one of the earliest bronze sculpture in the Indian subcontinent and is dated to about 2500 BC. Another remarkable example is the bronze chariot excavated in Daimabad, which is dated to about 1500 BC. The hoard of bronzes has also been excavated in Akota, which indicates widespread bronze casting practice was prevalent in Gujarat or Western India between 6th and 9th century. Many famous Jain bronze sculptures were found in Chausa in Bihar, Hansi in Haryana, and several places in Tamil Nadu. Many standing Buddha images with Abhay Mudra in the right hand were found in Uttar Pradesh and Bihar. They are mainly of the Gupta and the post-Gupta periods. Amravati style of Vakataka bronze images of Buddha were found from Pofnar, Maharashtra. They are contemporary with the bronze sculpture of Gupta period. Bronze images of Hindu and Buddhist deities were also excavated from Kashmir regions. A noteworthy evolution was the growth of iconography of Vishnu images, the four-headed Vishnu, Chaturran, Chatur Nana or Vaikuntha Vishnu was excavated from different regions. Pallava period of 8th century produced many bronze sculptures. They included the icon of Shiva seated in Ardha Paryanka Asan. A wide range of Shiva iconography was produced in the Tanjavur region of Tamil Nadu. The Nataraj Murti of Chola period is one remarkable sculpture. Kalyan Sundar Murti of 9th century is another astonishing example. Here, the Pani Grahana is represented by two separate statutes, statutes. Pani Grahana is the ceremony of marriage during the Vijayanagar period of the 16th century. In Andhra Pradesh, a wide range of experimentation evolved with the royal patronages. Standing portrait statues of Krishna Devaraya with the two queens were cast in bronze in Tirupati. मुगल पीरियड की अगर हम बात करें तो इस्लामिक रूल्स was not were not interested in producing figurative sculpture. Akbar was concerned with architecture and sculpture with the tradition was and the tradition was continued by Jahangir and Shah Jahan. He summoned guilds, salads of indigenous artisans to experiment in art and the unity in the art of India was developed. Animate motifs carved in red sandstone can be seen in the monuments at Agra and Fatehpur Sikri. Statues of Jai Man and Fatah, Fatah Rajput heroes of Chittor were commissioned by Akbar. Beautiful stone elephant mouths were carved in the Delhi gate of Agra Fort. Akbar's tomb, built in 1605 to 1613 by Jahangir and Sikandra, is another fine example of exquisite Mughal sculpture. Hindu motifs like swastik, Srivats, lotus, etc., are also used in Maurya Mandapa or the Peacock Hall of the Agra Fort. Many monuments of marble jalis and miniature animals are noticeable from time to time from the time of Shahjahan. तो इसमें ज्यादा कुछ है नहीं, जो मॉन्यूमेंट्स में डेकोरेशन ज्यादातर होती थी वो सब इसमें ज्यादा मुगल पीरियड में नोटिसेबल है. पोस्ट इंडिपेंडेंस कल्चर्स की बात करें तो इनोवेटिव टेक्निक्स इन स्कल्पचर एंड आर्ट मूवमेंट्स वर कैरीड on after independence. Most noted sculptors under 1947 include Ram Kinkar Baij, Pillu Pillu Pooch Khanawala, Mrinalini Mukherjee, Shankho Chaudhary, and Chintamani Kar. Contextual modernism was further advocated by the artists of Bengal School of Art like Nandalal Bose, Ramkinkar Baij, and Binod Bihari Mukherjee. Devi Prasad Roy Chaudhary, 1899 to 1975. He was an eminent Indian sculptor renowned for his outstanding monumental bronze sculpture, the Triumph of Labour, Chennai, and the Martyrs Memorial, Patna. Ram Kinkar Baij, 1906 to 1980, he was a pioneer sculptor and painter, a key proponent of contextual modernism, and he was associated with Santiniketan School of Art. His remarkable sculpture included the Santal family in Santiniketan, figure of Yaksha and Yakshi at Reserve Bank of India, New Delhi. Pillu Pochkhanawala, 1923 to 1986. She was one of the eminent women sculptors in India. She played a crucial role in transforming the Sir Kovasji Jahangir Hall, sorry, into the National Gallery of Modern Art, Mumbai. Her remarkable public sculptures include the Spark at the old Haji Ali Circle in Mumbai, Stone Age to Space at Nehru Center, etc. Tallest statues in India, Statue of Unity. The Statue of Unity is the world's tallest statue. It has a height of about 182 meters. It is situated near Kevadia in Gujarat and depicts Vallabhbhai. Patel. It has been designed by sculptor Ram V. Sutar. The statue was inaugurated on 31st October 2018, the 143rd birth anniversary of Sardar Patel. तो क्योंकि ये अभी हाल में बना हुआ है तो प्रोबेबल क्वेश्चन बन सकते हैं इस पे. स्टैचू ऑफ बिलीफ Viswas Swarupan. It is the tallest statue of Lord Shiva in the world. It has been constructed at Nath Dwar in Rajasthan and designed by Murtikar Naresh Kumawat. The statue was inaugurated on 29th October 2022. Statue of Equality. It is the statue of Ramanuja, 11th century philosopher located in Hyderabad. It was opened in 2022. Statue of Prosperity. It is the statue of the founder of the city of Bangalore, Nadaprabhu Kempe Gowda, and it was opened in 2022. Statue of Ahimsa. The statue is located in Nasik and it is the tallest Jain statue in the world. It is the statue of first Jain Tirthankar Rishabdev. The statue was completed in 2016. तो यहाँ हम complete करते हैं chapter 3, which was Indian sculptures and pottery, and let's get started with chapter 4, which is the edicts and inscriptions. Again, a very important chapter. So, an edict is an announcement of laws issued in number of physical forms. Some edicts were issued in the form of inscriptions during ancient and medieval times. Inscriptions are writing carved on hand material as such as wood, rock, stone pillars, metals, and temple walls. They were common during the early ages and were engraved for numerous reasons. There are vast epigraphic materials and inscriptions available in India, and they provide reliable data to study history. A large number of inscriptions have also been preserved in various museums. Next, the earliest inscriptions are found on the Harappan seals, which still remain undeciphered in India. The oldest inscriptions deciphered so far are Prakrit inscriptions of Ashoka in Brahmi and Kharoshti. खारोष्टी के बारे में हमने पढ़ा था लास्ट चैप्टर में कि ये राइट टू लेफ्ट लिखा जाता है और इससे रिलेटेड क्वेश्चन बीपीएससी में आ चुका है. अगेन ब्राह्मी स्क्रिप्ट वाज डिसाइफर्ड बाय जॉन प्रिंसेप. ये जेम्स प्रिंसेप. ये क्वेश्चन आया हुआ है यूपीपीसीएस 2008 में एंड जेम्स प्रिंसेप से रिलेटेड काफी क्वेश्चंस आए हुए हैं इनफैक्ट. तो पढ़ते हैं. कॉर्पस inscriptionum indicarum, a collection of epigraphs and many inscriptions pertaining to the history of ancient India, including Mauryan and Gupta time, have been published in a series of collections called Corpus Inscriptionum Indicarum. The idea of corpus uh, was first suggested by James Prinsep, and the work was begun by Sir Alexander Cumming in 1877. Epigraphia Indica. This book was the official publication of the Archaeological Survey of India from 1882 to 1977. It is a collection of inscriptions supplementary to the Corpus Inscriptionum Indicarum. The first volume was edited by James Burgess in 1882. Epigraphy, the study of inscription. Philology, the study of languages and oral and written historical texts. Paleography, the deciphering and dating of historical manuscripts and the study of ancient writing system. Akshapatalika, officer in charge of accounts and records in ancient India. Epigraphia Karnataka, 1895 to 1905. It is a set of book compiled by Benjamin Lewis Rice based on the epigraphy of old Mysore region of India, and it contains several inscriptions from lithic surfaces, copper plates, etc. It was compiled between 1894 and 1905. Alexander Rea, 1858 to 1924. He was a British archaeologist famous for unearthing a sarcophagus from Pallavaram in Tamil Nadu. Albert Henry Longhurst, 1876 to 1955. He was a British archaeologist and art historian who worked in the Archaeological Survey of India and Archaeological Survey of Ceylon. He was associated with the systematic digging of Nagarjun Konda. His notable works include Hampi ruins, excavations at Nagarjun Konda, the story of Stupa, etc. Do we still have time? Yes, we do a lot. So, next, importance of inscription. Early inscriptions are epigraphy. So sorry. Early inscriptions and epigraphy have much importance and relevance to the historians. Inscriptions ascertain stories about the events that have occurred and provide information about the social and economic activities during that period. Along with the food habits of the civilization, trade activities, science and technology, religion, and the like, inscriptions are the most accurate and authentic sources of for historian to know the major transition in the history of ancient and medieval times. The inscriptions were written in different languages during the reign of various dynasties, and they present opportunities for the epigraphers to learn new languages. The abundance of inscriptions in India and the widespread practice of recording land grants and other transactions on copper plates can be attributed to the desire to prevent the records of issuing authorities. Pre-Ashokan inscription की अगर हम बात करें तो the inscription are believed to be those of pre-Ashokan times. Bogazkoy inscription, 14th century BC, northeastern Syria. It mentions the gods Indra, uh, Mitra, Nasatya, Nasitya, that is the Ashwins, and Uruvanas, Varuna. These deities are also mentioned in Rig Veda. Pipravaha relic casket inscription, 3rd or 2nd century BC, Uttar Pradesh. The language of the inscription on the casket was a mix of Magadhi and Pali, and the relics were believed to be kept in it. Barley inscription, perhaps the 5th 4th to 4th century BC, Rajasthan, possibly earliest Jan inscription, and was written in Brahmi script and Prakrit language. Bhatti Prolu relic cascade inscription, 3rd to 5th century BC, Andhra Pradesh. The Bhatti Prolu script, a variant of Brahmi script, was found in Bhatti Prolu, for a flourishing Buddhist town at that time in the present Guntur district. Sogora copper plate inscription, 3rd century BC, Uttar Pradesh. The earliest known copper plate, known as the Sogora copper plate, is a pre-Mauryan record that mentions famine relief efforts. It records the setting up of two grain depots, Kosthagara, the fight against the famine found in the Gorakhpur district. It is one of the very few pre-Ashokan Brahmi inscription that was written in Prakrit language using Brahmi script. It is the oldest known copper plate inscription. सबसे पहले mark this as very very important. तो सबसे पहले एक क्वेश्चन आया हुआ था जिसमें एक ऑप्शन में सौगौरा था और इसमें लिखा हुआ था नॉट अ हरप्पन साइट, मतलब विच ऑफ दीज इज नॉट अ हरप्पन साइट। तो उसमें एक ऑप्शन सागौरा था और ये 2000 यूपीएससी 2019 रिसेंटली ये क्वेश्चन आया हुआ है। नेक्स्ट, द अर्लीस्ट नोन कॉपर प्लेट कौन सा था, ये भी क्वेश्चन आया हुआ है, सो सॉरी। इट रिकॉर्ड्स द सेटिंग अप ऑफ टू ग्रेन डिपॉट्स टू फाइट अगेंस्ट द फैमिन। ये एक स्टेटमेंट थी कि अर्लीस्ट नोन कॉपर प्लेट इंस्क्रिप्शन कौन सी है, और दूसरी इट रिकॉर्ड्स द सेटिंग अप ऑफ टू ग्रेन डिपॉट्स टू फाइट अगेंस्ट द फैमिन। ये यूपीएससी 1998 में क्वेश्चन आया हुआ है, तो दिस बिकम्स वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट। Mahasthangarh, Brahmi inscription around the 3rd century BC in present day Bangladesh. Mahasthangarh was an important city under the Mauryan Empire. The inscription is on limestone slab bearing 6 lines in the Prakrit language and in Brahmi script recording a land grant. Edicts of Ashoka on rocks and pillars. The Edicts of Ashoka are a collection of 33 inscriptions on pillars as well as boulders and cave walls by Emperor Ashoka of Mauryan Empire during his reign from 268 BC to 232 BC. ये पूरा टॉपिक ही काफी इम्पोर्टेंट है। These inscriptions were dispersed throughout the country and they represent the first tangible evidence of Buddhism. The edicts describe in detail Ashoka's views about Dhamma in order to solve the severe problems faced by complex society. James Princip, मैंने बताया इन पे बहुत सारे क्वेश्चंस हैं. Had first deciphered the edicts of Ashoka. ये question mark, this is very very important, very 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 important. जितना बार भी इस पे emphasis डाला जाए उतना कम है. UPPCS 2010, Mains 2006, 2008, UPSC 1993, 2016, BPSC 2008, Chhattisgarh PCS 2003, and no wonder in the upcoming years कितने बार ये question आएगा. तो किसने एडिक्ट्स ऑफ एम्परर अशोक डिसाइफर किया था फर्स्ट टाइम? ही वाज जेम्स प्रिंसेप, जिसने ब्राह्मी स्क्रिप्ट भी डिसाइफर की थी फॉर द फर्स्ट टाइम. नंबर से रिलेटेड भी क्वेश्चंस मैंने देखे हैं, कई बार आए हैं. द अशोकन एडिक्ट्स आर डिवाइडेड इनटू द फॉलोइंग: माइनर स्क्रिप्ट, माइनर रॉक एडिक्ट्स 13, sorry 3, what has happened, major rock edicts 14 edicts, and two separate ones found in Odisha, minor pillar edicts 5, major pillar edicts 6, or in one case 7. Kandahar bilingual rock inscription located in present-day Afghanistan, written in Greek and Aramaic script in the 10th year of his reign, 260 BC, is the first known inscription of Ashoka. So this fact becomes important. आपसे ये वन लाइनर पूछ सकता है किसी भी स्टेट पीसीएस में, या फिर यूपीएससी में स्टेटमेंट बेस्ड भी क्वेश्चन आते हैं उसमें. माइनर रॉक एडिक्ट्स की अगर हम बात करें, द माइनर रॉक एडिक्ट्स फ्रॉम द अर्लीस्ट पार्ट ऑफ द एडिक्ट्स ऑफ अशोका, एंड दे प्रीडेट Ashoka's major rock edicts. They were written quite early in the reign of Ashoka, 11th year of his reign, and 2.5 years at least after Kalinga conquest. In the minor rock edict, Ashoka explicitly mentions about his religious and affiliation by presenting himself as a disciple of Buddha and his proximity to the order Sangh. The inscription are so sorry. The inscriptions are majorly in Prakrit. Edict 1, Ashoka describes himself as a Buddhist layman, Upasak, a Saka, and also explains that he has been closer to the Sangh. Edict 2, Ashoka emphasizes the virtues of Dhamma should be followed. Edict 3, Ashoka makes a list of recommended Buddhist scriptures that Buddhist monks should repeatedly study. He mentions his faith in Buddha, Dhamma, and Sangh. Altogether, various versions of minor rock edicts of Ashoka are at present known to us. There are slight variations between each of these versions of minor rock edicts. They are present at the following locations: Bahapur, New Delhi; अहरौरा उत्तर प्रदेश; गुज्जर मध्य प्रदेश; रूपनाथ मध्य प्रदेश; मस्की कर्नाटका, जिससे क्वेश्चन आया हुआ है कि पर्सनल नेम या फिर अशोक कहाँ पे मेंशन किया गया था. यूपीएससी 1997 में क्वेश्चन आया हुआ है, तो दिस बिकम्स इम्पोर्टेंट. गवीमठ कर्नाटका; पालकीगुंडू कर्नाटका; निट्टूर कर्नाटका. इसको मैंने अंडरलाइन इसलिए किया रखा है क्योंकि इसमें भी अशोका मेंशन था, लेकिन ऑप्शन में क्योंकि मस्की था तो इसलिए मैंने इस पे इम्पोर्टेंट लगाया हुआ. ऑल्सो उदय गोलम में और गुज्जर जो इंस्क्रिप्शन था वहां पे भी अशोका मेंशन्ड है. पानगौर, पंगुररिया एमपी मध्य प्रदेश; सासाराम बिहार; बैराट राजस्थान; येरागुड्डू आंध्र प्रदेश; राजूला मंडागिरी आंध्र प्रदेश; उदयगोलम कर्नाटका; ब्रह्मगिरी कर्नाटका; सिद्धगिरी कर्नाटका; जतिंगा रामेश्वर ये कर्नाटका. तो ये सब मेंशन्ड है. यहाँ तक ही हम रखते हैं इस लेक्चर को, और आगे हम नेक्स्ट पढ़ेंगे. हाँ, टाइम ऑलमोस्ट हो चुका है. आगे हम पढ़ेंगे इस चैप्टर को, कल हम कंप्लीट कर लेंगे नेक्स्ट लेक्चर में. सो कीप वॉचिंग घटना सूत्र, कीप स्टडिंग एंड कीप फॉलोइंग दीज लेक्चर्स. आपको आई होप फायदा हो रहा होगा इन लेक्चर्स में. सो कीप सपोर्टिंग दिस चैनल, कीप स्टडिंग, and we'll meet in the next lecture. Bye.